So how are those old Kung Fu masters in such great shape? When you look at the Shaw Brothers movies from the 1970s or the old Kung Fu movies, there's always a scene where there's some elderly Kung Fu master and he's got speed and strength and power and fluidity. So how do they do it? What's different in Chinese Kung Fu or traditional martial arts in general compared to how we think in the West? So someone who's health conscious, you can go online, you can get advice from whoever who's a bit of a health nut, and they tell you the same things, common sense approach, don't smoke, limit your alcohol content, limit your sugar, limit your fat, don't eat a bunch of fast food, eat healthy, and exercise. All great advice. But what if you're doing all those things and you're still not in great shape? What are those Kung Fu masters doing that most people are not doing? Well, the first thing when you look at it, in my opinion, it's their lifestyle. They're passionate about martial arts, they're passionate about what they're doing, and they're engaged. So there's a physical component, a mental component, a spiritual component, all that's coming together. That's what's making them have a healthy lifestyle. First of all, a lot of them, they get up very early in the morning to train. When you look at videos, you can look at YouTube videos, and if you are in traditional Kung Fu or traditional martial arts in general, you have to get yourself in a routine. Many of my Sifus, they follow it's not just, well, we'll train whenever. Now, everyone's busy, and sometimes in modern society, you can't train as often as you want to. But you have to have some structure. And a lot of those old Kung Fu masters, they get up very early in the morning, they train, and they also have a level of intensity that a lot of people aren't willing to put that amount of work into it. They're doing a lot of body weight exercises. When you look at what are they doing in general, they have hand forms, weapon forms, body conditioning, meditation, sparring. There's a variety of things that they're doing consistently that get them to the level where they're at and are able to maintain that level of health a lot later on in life than what a lot of us in the West are. The other thing is you have to find out what works for you. So if one person has success in something, doesn't necessarily mean you'll have success. When those old Shaolin masters, they would look at the students and they would say, okay, well, what are their physical attributes? And then they try to match a Kung Fu system that match their physical attributes and also their mental attributes, and hopefully then the person would be engaged from that point forward. They'd be more passionate about what they're doing. So let's talk about Kung Fu forms. They force your body to move at unusual angles, just like yoga does the same thing. And when you're forced to move at unusual angles, it's very healthy. Because a lot of us have desk jobs, you're sitting at the computer all day, so not only do you have to exercise, but you have to have something that gives you like a full body workout. And it has to be more engaging than just walking on a treadmill or running. If you have success with that, that's fine, but that's only one very, very small component of martial arts. Traditional martial arts has a very deep curriculum. Kung Fu is a lifestyle. You have to have the self-discipline to stick with it. You have to get yourself in a routine, and you have to say, this is my routine, not just for this week, but forever, for all eternity. You stick with it. That's your program. You say, I get up at this time and this is what I'm doing. And you come back home from work and this is what you're doing. You're doing a regular workout, you're doing your forms, you're hitting the punching bag, you're doing sparring, you're doing wrestling, you're doing all those things to keep yourself engaged. The other thing I noticed that those old Kung Fu masters do is they squat down. A lot of people in the West, they don't squat down. You look at Hung Gar specifically, a famous Southern Kung Fu system, those stances are very low. And because the stances are low, it's working your legs. And if your legs are strong, the rest of your body is going to be strong. If your legs are weak, then it's always going to be an uphill battle. And let's touch upon intensity for a minute, because a lot of people, they want to do something that's very monotone. They want to get on a treadmill and they want to walk at a gradual or a moderate pace. Well, if that works for you, then fine. But most people you're not going to get results doing that. You have to mix that up with intensity. You have to do push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, squats, stuff that is basically hard. And if you think it's going to be easy, it's not going to be easy. A lot of people, I think, in the West, they think that if they train Kung Fu, then that Sifu is going to give them some sort of secret knowledge, some sort of technique that's going to beat all the other techniques, or going to pass on some type of wisdom. And the reality of the wisdom is that Kung Fu is hard work, and it teaches you to work hard and gives you the self-discipline so that you can be successful in all areas of your life. Sometimes people in martial arts, they say, well, I'm training in martial arts, but I'm not having success. I haven't lost weight, or I'm not in great shape. So what are those old Kung Fu masters doing that you're not doing? And usually it comes back to the lifestyle. You can't expect to do Kung Fu twice a week and then you eat poorly and you sit at a desk for 9 hours a day on the computer, and it has to be part of your lifestyle. You have to incorporate that into your lifestyle. If your goal is to lose weight, you have to be in a caloric deficit, which means if you can get away with eating 2,500 calories and you're not able to lose weight, then you need to reduce that to 2,000 calories or less. If you do that consistently, day after day, in conjunction with exercise, you're going to lose weight. The problem is that most people don't have the self-discipline to do that, and that goes back to traditional Kung Fu, where it gives you those tools. First, you have the instructor telling you what to do. They're forcing you to do, sort of like boot camp training. The sergeant's yelling at you, these are what you're doing. You're running, you're doing push-ups, you're doing pull-ups, but then that goes away and you're left on your own. And there's only a small amount of people who have the self-discipline to continue that type of training. And Kung Fu gives you those tools where they're giving you a variety of physical, mental, spiritual things to work on, and that's all for yourself, help improve your self-discipline. And that's the one thing I notice all those Sifus that I've worked with over the years. When I was young, my metabolism was fast. But now that I'm coming up to 50, my metabolism hasn't been fast for probably 15 plus years, if not longer. And so you have to watch what you're doing more carefully. But if you have a passion for martial arts, one of my Sifu said, he said, everyone wants a secret. You know what my secret is? I work my ass off. He does hard work.